We're in Panama.
Panama! 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 Panama!
80s jock rock aside, most people don't know that much about Panama. Commonly called a transit country thanks to the world-famous Panama Canal, Panama sees more than $270 billion of cargo cross through its borders each year. Although the Panama Canal is an amazing feat, this country has so much more to offer. Positioned between Colombia and Costa Rica, Panama is home to incredible beaches, remote islands, hella good coffee, dozens of indigenous tribes, lush jungles, and diverse wildlife. Panama was ruled by the Spanish for over 300 years, then later inhabited by France and the United States during the development of the Panama Canal, meaning it's no stranger to outside influences. And no place is this more evident than Panama City. It's modern, it's massive, it's multicultural, and the chances are it's nothing like what you were thinking. Subscribe to join us this week as we show you what Panama City is all about, from its food,
not expecting that,
to its history and its top activities.
This is love! Buenos dias from beautiful Panama City. We arrived late last night after some delays due to rain in the airport in Florida. It was totally a bummer, but we made the most of it. Got here after dark and we went out for a fantastic first meal at Fonda Lo Que Hay.
Fonda Lo Que Hay was voted one of the top 50 restaurants in all of Latin America last year. We were super tired after our long day of travel, but we still enjoyed everything we had. Their food was super creative and it featured local Panamanian flavors and dishes.
Good. We have made it to Casco Viejo. This is the neighborhood we are going to be spending our short time in the city. This morning we woke up overlooking our balcony and we're greeted with the most beautiful views. This is our first time to Panama City. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I'm already blown away. This city is absolutely stunning. It is so colorful and historic. All the buildings are so beautiful. I love the terrazas. It reminds me a lot of like South America, like Buenos Aires, some pictures I've seen of Colombia. We're only here for a few days, but we are so excited to explore as much as we can. We're gonna be heading to a different part of Panama after this. Grabbing some coffee now, and we're gonna hit the town.
Oh, hola!
I ended up getting a traditional Panamanian breakfast, at least I think so. It comes with these cute little empanadas. It's made from maize, and they're kind of like a bright yellow color to them. They're definitely different than the empanadas you may be thinking of or familiar with. Then they also have something called hojaldre, which is made from harina, flour. They mix with a little bit of sugar, salt, baking soda, and egg, and they let that rise for like an hour, and they fry them. I guess it is very traditional for breakfast. And they also have these tortitas de maíz. They do not look like traditional tortillas that we are familiar with from Mexico. They're a lot thicker, and then they're fried, and then a side of yuca. Lots of fried food, but I am digging it.
Look at that yuca, it's massive. Oh my God, that yuca is so good. It tastes like a funnel cake, but not sweet. But that's like the vibe you get from the flour for sure. And it's a little bit thinner, but it's very good. Not a ton of flavor in the tortitas. It's just like straight maize, the empaditas. Stuffed with meat, not expecting that. Those might be my favorite.
Casco Viejo, also known as Casco Antiguo, is the old quarter of Panama City. After Spanish conquistadors arrived in the early 1500s, Panama City became a hub for Spanish civilization. But Panama Viejo, where the original city once sat, is now just ruins. Several pirate attacks, including one from the famed Captain Morgan, burnt Panama City to the ground, eventually forcing the Spanish to relocate to this area in 1673. You can visit the ruins of the original town, which are about a 20-minute drive from Casco Viejo. Until recently, Casco Antiguo wasn't an area tourists would want to visit, thanks to high crime and crumbling buildings. But this area is undergoing a ton of revitalization over the last few decades. Today, Casco Antiguo is one of the hottest neighborhoods in all of Panama City and is even a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Casco Viejo is a super small area. We saw most of the neighborhood in just a few hours walking around. We were absolutely blown away by how charming and colorful and historic this area is. We loved the cobblestone roads and all of the different plazas, the old churches, ruins of the old Spanish convents. There's tons of great shopping, restaurants, bars to explore in this area, and several fantastic museums.
including the Museo de Mola, which is the traditional dress from the Guna people, the native indigenous tribes that live in this area and have called Panama home for thousands of years.
Molas are handmade textiles created by the Guna women. They often feature bright colors, patterns, and intricate designs to represent an animal, star, tree, or patterns in nature. Molas are most commonly used in traditional clothing and are a way to help the Guna people get closer to the creator and the universe that surrounds them. These textiles are made by sewing several layers of cloth together. The top layers are cut and then sewn back to reveal the colors underneath. Some molas can take up to 6 months to make. They are a super important and sacred practice that the Guna women still do today.
Totally free entry, absolutely fantastic. It's a really small museum. You can go through in about 30 to 45 minutes, but highly, highly, highly recommend visiting. Down by the French Plaza, there are tons of vendors selling the traditional mola. We saw it, but we didn't really understand what each pattern meant and kind of like the importance of it. So we came back to revisit some of the vendors. Definitely a great place to pick up a souvenir if you're looking for it. And Dennis, what do you have?
Carimañolas. Honestly, I've been looking for these every single day since we got here. I finally found some in a restaurant. And the dude told me when I bought them that this isn't a typical thing that you actually find in Panama City. It's more of a thing that you find away from the city out in the country. So now I understand why they're so hard to find. It's made out of yuca and it's filled with beef.
Ooh,
The best thing we've eaten since we got here.
really?
Swear to God.
You can tell that the flavors are like on point, and it's not like greasy, but you get that fried goodness. It's delicious.
Aside from shopping near the Plaza Francia, there's beautiful, beautiful views of the downtown city skyline. There's also, at low tide, you can kind of go out and see some of the tide pools if you walk off one of the streets that go to the beach. We've seen tons of people out there like harvesting oysters. Dennis went out and found a few nature treasures the other day. So there is like a beltway that goes all the way around Casco Viejo. There's a road that you can take, but you can also take a bike ride out there or go for a nice walk. They have a separate path for pedestrians and bikers. Something unique about the Casco Viejo neighborhood is, of course, its history, but also the condition of the buildings. Since it is such an old part of the city, a lot of the buildings have been left kind of deteriorating, but there's so much construction happening to revitalize this area, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. Gentrification is a huge concern here, like many other cities across the world. It's becoming more difficult for the people who have been here for decades to live because so much money is being poured into these buildings. You'll see like one completely abandoned house. There's no roof, there's like trees growing in it, and right next to it is a multi-million-dollar property. So it's a super weird feeling. Also, some of the neighborhoods can feel a little rough around the edges, but there's police everywhere. They really are doing a really good job to make sure tourists not only feel safe, but that crime's not happening. When you're walking around Casco Viejo, you're gonna see this big junglous mountain in the background. That is Ancon Hill. It's about a 10-minute drive to get there, and you can hike up to the top and get a beautiful vista of the city. There's tons of gorgeous houses and residences out here. I think the houses out here are probably very expensive. So right now we are on about the 20-30 minute trek up. It was only like a $3 Uber ride here, so it was really convenient. And it feels like we've stepped into a whole nother place. It is so jungly and lush. You can hear birds. Sometimes you can even see sloths. I'm not sure if we're gonna get lucky and see any animals. It's a sloth, it's a sloth, it's a sloth! But it is lovely. We're walking up the road to get to the top of the hill. We have seen several cars pass by, but I don't think the general public can drive up to the top. There have been several like stands or guards to go through where you have to kind of check in and sign in. So you will have to walk, but it's like a steady and easy climb. Definitely family friendly, and I think it's well worth it. It's a sloth, it's a sloth, it's a sloth!
He's brown and he's moving very slow. What's in the tree?
Sloth.
How did that feel to see the sloth?
Good.
Yeah? What did it do?
Hang upside down.
They move so slow. It is insane. It took him like 5 minutes just to turn his body to eat a leaf. Now, if we can only see a toucan, that would just be like the cherry on top. You do have to climb up some stairs to get to the very tippy top, but there are several platforms for looking over and seeing different vantage points of the city, and it is breathtaking. We have also seen so many nature treasures today. It is such a special treat. We got to see the sloth, of course. We also saw a guti and a poison dart frog. If you get hot and need to cool down like we did, come to La Rana Dorado. It's a brew pub here. They are brewing their own beer, and the beers are very tasty. We're gonna be grabbing a 12-pack to go to take back to the pool because we have an amazing pool at our Airbnb.
Are you ready? If you feel like you can. 1, 2. To finish off the evening, we headed to Candela, one of Panama City's hottest new restaurants. The ambiance and the food, which was mostly small plates, were absolutely fantastic. It's definitely on the pricier side, but if you're looking for a nice meal out, this is the place to do it.
New morning, new coffee shop. We are getting some fuel before we go out for more adventures in Panama City. It is raining today, which is a total bummer, but we came here during the rainy season. The temperature in Panama is kind of like the same all year round. There's just a rainy season and dry season, and the summer months for us is when it rains frequently. We're hoping it'll just be like a drizzle and we can make it work. Today, we are going to the Panama Canal. Super bummer. We got to the Panama Canal and there's no boats going through. Every single day the schedule changes for when the boats go through. We heard in the morning it can be less crowded, but this morning there is no boat scheduled to pass. So we bought our tickets. We're gonna go see an IMAX movie about the building of the canal, which is narrated by Morgan Freeman. They have different time schedules for the IMAX movie too, so definitely make sure to check that and kind of plan your day around that. And hopefully we'll come back today and get to see some boats passing through.
The IMAX movie is a must. It will give you a whole new appreciation for what you are witnessing and dives into the very complicated history of this engineering feat. French diplomat and developer of the Suez Canal in Egypt attempted to build the Panama Canal in the late 1800s, but the mission failed. Over 22,000 workers died. Later, in the early 1900s, U.S. President Teddy Roosevelt bought the canal and the building equipment from the French for $40 million and began working. Once again, harsh working conditions by mostly black and indigenous peoples, on top of widespread disease from yellow fever and malaria, made it an extremely difficult mission. But eventually, by using a lock system and creating a lake on top of a river, they created a passage between the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. Today, roughly $270 billion of cargo passes through these waterways each year, with ships as long as the Eiffel Tower. Some of them can carry as many as 14,000 shipping containers. The world as we know it today would not be the same without the Panama Canal.
I was poo-pooing a little bit on it before. I just am not used to that much crowd and craziness, but it was very much worth experiencing. Once the ships came through, it was really impressive to see its size, how much has to happen to make them magically and perfectly go down. The lock is incredible. They only have about 2 feet distance for some of the ships on the side, so definitely do recommend this experience if you're coming here. Just be prepared for a crowd, and if you want a view, you're gonna have to fight through. Oh, it's really good. They have like a little bit of spice to them, a lot of flavor. It kind of reminds me of like bacon a little bit. Super tasty. This is the Spanish restaurant, and they also have a bakery where we've gotten the Carimañolas like every morning we've been in Panama City so far. For the first half of the trip, we stayed at an Airbnb right on the edge of Casco Viejo. It was perfect for us to get situated as we were getting to know this area, and it was nice that we had such a wide open space for several nights stay. But on our last night, when we returned to Panama City, we decided to stay at the Hyatt La Compañía. It's right in the heart of Casco Viejo. We're not normally hotel people, but we were able to use points to book this amazing room. It's built around the ruins of an old convent. It has 5 restaurants on site, and it has 3 distinct wings, one being French, Spanish, and American. We aren't able to film in the common areas, but I promise you, it is so cool. It felt like stepping back in time. But we are going to give you a room tour. I love all the amenities that come with a hotel, like slippers. Are you kidding me? Yes, please. Oh yeah, it feels so luxurious. Now I'm ready for the tour. Right when you walk in, they have a spot for your luggage and a safe, as well as a fully stocked mini bar with waters, juices, sodas, and Panamanian Balboa. This is their local beer here. We will be cracking that open. This is all included. They have a little coffee bar for us to be able to have coffee out on the patio in the morning. Now on the other side is the bathroom. It is beautiful.
They have a super fancy glass wall on the shower, so you can set the privacy button and it frosts the window electronically. That's so cool. It's a nice comfy bed.
Softer than the Airbnb mattress we were just in.
Yes, and it's so much quieter. The last Airbnb room was quite noisy, but our room is facing the inside courtyard here and it is like silent. Look at this view. They also have a pool, a gym, and a rooftop bar here. Empanada? Empanada.